My project was going over the recognition and representation of women and people of color in the history of psychology. So what it did is we took some surveys of a lot of students all across the nation here of the senior and junior graduate level, and we asked them to rate how well they knew a lot of the pioneers of psychology. Of course, they ended up knowing a vast amount of white pioneers, but when it came to people of color, and especially women, they knew very, very little, and it was, of course, very surprising for those results. We definitely expected it, but to the degrees it was very immense. And then another part of our project was we looked at the top 5 of history psychology textbooks, and we looked at how much they mentioned, people of color, women of color, as well as just women in general. And we found that there was a very, very surprising amount of mentions to white men, but as far as mentions of people of color go and women, it was very little. As in the total number of mentions that we came across from just a constructed list was 6,360, but when it came to mentions of women of color, there was only 17 mentions. So out of those 6,360, we only saw 17 mentions of women of color. That's only 0.2% of all the mentions that we actually gathered. So overall, it was just shocking to look at how underrepresented and underrecognized people of color and women are in psychology. After I plan on graduating here from my bachelor's, I've been going back and forth between the idea of going ahead and pursuing a doctorate, a degree in clinical psychology, and also the option of continuing on into the Master's of Counseling program here for clinical mental health counseling is also another option of mine that I've really been pursuing, because the program here for counseling is amazing. I've heard that it prepares you a lot more for those interpersonal skills than some other counseling programs would. I feel like MState has actually done a very good job of preparing me for the future in those fields I plan on going into, such as like clinical psychology, because I have looked a lot at different schools and I've looked at the coursework that that are required for bachelor's degrees there. And what I have found is that a lot of the schools generally don't seem to put as much of an emphasis on the actual practice of psychology as MState does. So I feel like MState has done an exceptionally just amazing, fantastic job at preparing me for those fields, because I feel like I can actually go into the practice a lot more confidently, seeing as how I've actually had multiple classes that have addressed those interpersonal skills, as well as just skills when it comes to counseling and clinical help as well.